Reading order is Vindyavali Mataji, then Sukomala Radhe Mataji, Sulekha Mataji, Varshana Mataji, Meera Mataji. Then I will read and again back to Vindyavali Mataji.
Fantastic. So we'll get started here with Dyavadu Mataji and Vijay Lakshmi Mataji and our dear Himlada Mataji.
See the screen, Mataji. How can I say?
And we are, don't talk in between, Claudie Mataji. It disturbs my flow. And so I was thanking Vijay Lakshmi Mataji and Aruni Mataji also who have joined us there on the Facebook, and all of you here, dear devotees on the Zoom call. A very, very happy new year and a happy beginning to another year of which we promise to spend in the service of the Lord. So we'll get started. Today is a special day when we're going to do Srimad Bhagavatam. And we will do that after these prayers. Om Ajnanatimarandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. All right, so we have the reading order here today. And let's get started as soon as I share chapter 14 of Bhagavad Gita here today. And I am still enjoying, as Sanjay says in the end of Bhagavad Gita, how he was enjoying the conversation that was there between Krishna and Arjuna. I'm still reminiscing and I'm thinking about your wonderful sloka recitation and reflections that you did yesterday. It was just fantastic. I got a lot of feedback from others as well who were watching on Facebook that it was very good. So let's get started here. 3 modes of material nature. And who goes in first? Vindyavali Mataji. Did she go in first? And
Yeah. Vindyavali Mataji, can you see the screen? She was saying.
No, I'm not able to see anything.
Mataji, take out your book. You have a book? You have a Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which chapter, Mataji?
14th chapter.
14, okay.
14th chapter, give us the first 2 verses and you can hear with your book. Varshana Mataji also does the same way.
Sure. Give me
And
1 second.
okay.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Again I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection." Text 2. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Fantastic. And you can follow along in your book as others are reading. Okay.
That's all I will do.
All righty.
Okay. Text 3. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata. Text 4. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. Sulekha Mataji.
Text 5. Material nature consists of 3 modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the internal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these 3 modes. Text 6. O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. Hare Krishna.
Who goes after Sulekha Mataji?
Hare Krishna. Me, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
I.
Text 7. Text 7. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings. O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material fruitive actions. Text 8. O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The result of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, text 9. O son of Bharata, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions one to fruitive action, and ignorance, covering one's knowledge, binds one to madness. Text 10. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata, sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at the other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, text 11. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be explained when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. Text 12. O chief of the Bharatas, where there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop. Vindhyavali Mataji, text 13.
Mataji, can you scroll it a little bit, please? Yeah. Text 13. When one dies in the mode of goodness,
Oh,
he
13.
13, I'm sorry. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, interior, madness, and illusion are manifested.
Inertia. Mataji, inertia.
Inertia.
Inertia is laziness.
Inertia. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Text 14. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets of the great sages. Hare Krishna.
Text 15. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. Text 16. The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. Sulekha Mataji.
Text 17. Uh, From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance develops foolishness, madness, and illusion. Text 18. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets. And those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. Hare Krishna. Varshana Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord, who is a transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. Text 20. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses and can enjoy nectar even in this life. Hare Krishna. Meera Mataji.
Text 20. When the embodied being
20,
is
21, right?
I'm sorry. Text 21. Arjuna inquired, O my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior? And how does he transcend the modes of nature? Text 25, 22 to 25. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present for long or when they are present, or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone and piece of gold with equal eye, who is equal towards desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcendented the modes of nature. Hare Krishna, Niral Mataji.
Hare Krishna, text 26. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the mood of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Text 27. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
That's a
Haribol. So, so Meera Mataji, the Mataji who was reading, her name is Khyati. And
Oh,
her
okay,
husband's name is
sorry.
Neeral.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
yeah, no, it's okay. I'm using his.
No, no, the name
I should
is
have
there,
renamed.
Mataji. Neeral Prabhu's name is there.
So I just renamed you. I just renamed
Yeah,
you.
I saw that. Thank you.
It's all in the name. Okay. All right. The best time of the day. Reflections from you.
I have a question, Shraddha Mataji.
Yes, please.
So for text 2, when it says that by becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own, then it says one is not born at the time of creation. I can understand disturbed at the time of dissolution, but what does it mean one is not born at the time of creation?
What it means is that when you realize that you're a soul, then there is no such concept of being born, because the soul lives forever, right? So the concept of born only comes when I begin the false identification that I'm this body, and so I'm born, and I'm this body, so I'm dying, like that. Or others think like that, like that.
So then the same applies for dissolution, that there is no dissolution if there's no creation.
Exactly, exactly.
Oh.
And if you're indestructible, so yeah.
Hmm.
So so that happens, and then also when you reach that understanding, when you reach that understanding, then by default what's going to happen is that you're freed, you're liberated, so you won't come into the cycle of birth and death, right? Except for in special situations you will come, like Prabhupada was already a liberated soul and he came, right? So he came there. And so that's what it means, that even if you're born like that, they know from inside, they know that they are liberated souls,
Hmm.
like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Hare Krishna.
Varshana Mataji.
Mataji, yeah.
Vaishana Mataji.
Yes,
Go ahead, please.
Mataji.
Yeah.
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, in text 22 to 25, all the you see, God has told that uh, the qualities what one should have uh, for a transcendental person. I mean, the identification of transcendental person, the everything is given there. Mataji, when we talk about Atma Sakshatkar, self-realization, at that time, how do we get into to Atma Sakshatkar? What are the qualities of, I mean, what are the, what should I call it, Mataji? How to go about it, Mataji? This is
How to
what
go
I
about it? Devotional service. Do devotional service of the Lord, and then the knowledge gets revealed to you. That's the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita says all this will be revealed to you. Just do man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Whose verse was that yesterday?
Mataji.
Birth.
Mine.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. You said do devotional
So that
service.
is Atma Sakshatkar.
To that, you will get Atma Sakshatkar when you start doing devotional service. Slowly, that Bhidyate hridaya ghantes chidyante sarva samshaya chiyante chasya karmani dishta evatmanishware. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, it says that Bhidyate hridaya granthis. Granthi means a knot, right? Hridaya granthi means the knots that are there in the heart. So what are the knots that are there in the heart? The knots that are there in our heart are the knots of attachment, hatred, desire. These are the things that bind us to this material nature with a tight knot, right? And so Bhidyate hridaya ghantes, all these knots are undone. Vidyate hridaya ghantes, chidyante sarva samshaya, all the doubts are removed, right? So after that, then you realize yourself. And how does it happen? Through devotional service of the Lord. So there is no way that, I can mechanically do something and say that, okay, now I'm going to close my eyes really tight and I'll see the soul. It doesn't happen. Those layers that are covering the soul, those layers are going to be broken and dissolved and, cleared away. And then you will see yourself. And not only will you see yourself as the soul, you will see everybody around you as the soul. And that is why that equanimity will come when you will see, right? So that is what there's Atma Sakshatkar, right? So and then when you have Atma Sakshatkar, the proper and the complete Atma Sakshatkar is to know is yourself, is when you know not only that you are the soul, you also know that there is God, and you also know that there is what is my relationship with Him, right? So to understand that my relationship with God is that I am a servant of the Lord. Because there are schools of thought that think that, my self-realization will be when I realize that I am God actually, right? Which is not the case. Right? So to understand your relationship, das, anudas, sarva kamalayor, gopir bhrutar, sabda kamalayor, das, anudas. So to know that I am a, eternal servant of the Lord. That is my relationship. So that is the true Atma Sakshatkar. Right? Sakshatkar is you're seeing yourself, right?
Thank you so much.
Like that. You're welcome.
Thank you so
And
much.
Meera Mataji had some question on devotional service, I think.
So some of the devotional services we do at home, like chanting, preparing the food. Can you give us the other examples of devotional services?
Good.
Like I went to my sister's to visit my sister today.
How
could I have made that into a devotional service?
Very good. Now let's see, what did you do when you went to your sister's place? Did you take Bhagavad Gita with you to give her?
I have already given it to her.
Okay,
but good. When I go to her place, I have a small Laddu Gopal that I took with me.
There you go. And why did you take it? Take Laddu Gopal with you?
To take him out.
There you go.
But I don't take Laddu Gopal everywhere because I don't feel comfortable.
And that's fine. We should not be doing that also. Too much of outing for Laddu Gopal is not good for him, right?
So in this case, when I asked you, it was easy. But how about other things which are not this?
Let's first take your sister, because if we can't take Laddu Gopal every day, then what are some of the other things that you can do? And let us pull this from the class. I know the answer is there with you all. What are some of the other things that you could have done to go to your sister and
just Prahlad Maharaj's 9 processes of devotional service.
Okay, can you give them to us, Mataji? Just you don't have to be precise. Just give. The class will help you.
Yeah, Shravanam, that's hearing. Then Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Atmanivedanam.
Right? Okay, yeah. But on more concrete and practical terms, I mean, there was a little bit of a Sakhya bhav or a Vatsalya bhav that Meera Mataji was expressing when she said, I'm going to take him out. Right? So like a parent takes the child out. So that was a little bit she expressed. But what are other things that you could have done when you're going to your sister? What are some of the things that you can do?
Prasadam, Mukha Prasadam.
Yeah,
Mm.
very good. What is the difference between prasadam and mukha prasadam? Would you like to elaborate on that? That's a very, very good point.
Prasadam is you are cooking and taking it. And you are cooking it in the memory with this, with keeping God in mind, and then you are giving it. And Mukha Prasadam is from your words that you are speaking. You are giving blessings and you are sharing the word of the Lord.
Yes, very good, right? So when you're cooking things in keeping Krishna in mind with Krishna consciousness and you're cooking for Krishna, for his enjoyment, enjoyment means bhoga. So that is why whatever you cook for Krishna is called bhoga. So you offer the bhoga to Krishna, then Krishna has it. And what does he say? What are the things that he will have? What are the kinds of things that Krishna can have?
All
Patram Pushpam Phalam.
Yes. Who said that?
Garima Mataji,
Very
Hare
well,
Krishna,
Mataji.
Dandavat Nam.
Yes. Dandavat pranams. Happy New Year. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayatyachi. Right? So, so he says anything that you prepare with love need not be elaborate, but if you're doing it with love and devotion, offering it to Krishna, then it's the bhoga you're offering him, and then Krishna partakes of that. So when Krishna touches that, because Krishna is transcendental, so that bhoga also becomes transcendental and becomes a mercy of Krishna on us, because now we can have something transcendental, which originally was a material object or material things. Now they have become transcendental, and this is mercy of Krishna. And mercy in Sanskrit, the word for mercy in Sanskrit is prasad. That is why that is known as prasad. Okay. So similarly, when you offer a ghee lamp to Krishna, right? During Aarti, you give a ghee lamp, and then you go to the temple, they take the lamp around everywhere for them, and everybody will do this, right? So what is it that we're doing? Okay? So we offered fire to Krishna as bhoga for him. And then Krishna looked at it, accepted it, and then gives it back to us as prasad. And then by doing this towards the Jyoti, we are partaking of that prasad, right? Similarly, we gave a nice smelling flower to Krishna. He smells it, that becomes transcendental. And then they turn it around the temple for everybody to sniff. So they are partaking in the prasadam. So that's prasad, right? So you can make prasadam, like convert bhoga to prasadam like that. And then you can give it to others. So that is giving prasadam. And then another thing is that if you can't even cook prasadam your own, then you can do mukhe prasadam. From your own mouth prasadam can come out. That is when you give them some knowledge about Krishna, some Krishna kirtan, Krishna singing, or just being nice and compassionate to people is also your mercy on them. The mukhe prasadam is there. Very good. Yeah. So you can do now again, Meera Mataji, your question was that how can I do things for Krishna all the time, 24 hours a day, right? For example, when I'm talking to my sister and my sister says that her daughter is not feeling well and she has something in her toe. So at that time, how can you stop and talk about Krishna Katha at that time, right? You have to talk
Right.
about the
Yeah, and
doctor
so
that
many
they're
other
feeling bad,
things. Yeah.
right? And then in 12th chapter that we read, Krishna said, "Mayeva mana adhatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya." So he says that you put your mind on me.
Mm.
And then the question is that, now, how do I put mind on Krishna all the time? Because I have to use my mind on other things, right? I'm driving. I can't be putting my mind, at that time on Krishna. I have to focus on things on the road. So the two ways that you can be in constant meditation on Krishna is, that number one, you meditate on Krishna for the time that you can, right? For whatever time that you're available, you do that. And then what you do is that for the other times, you do what Krishna wants you to do, right? That is also meditation in Krishna, and that will also please Krishna a lot. So one is doing things for Krishna. So I can do things for example, there's a child and a son or a daughter, they're doing things for the parents, right? So they can take care of the parents, right? And suppose the parent doesn't want the child to drink alcohol. So a child can, take very good care of the parent, give them food on time, take them to the doctors, make sure they're clothed, everything nice, clean, everything they're doing, right? So the parent is happy, and then they sit in front of the parent and they start drinking. That's not going to make the parent happy, right? So the complete way in which you can make another person happy is, number one is, do you serve them, and then also second thing is that you do things the way they want it to be done. And in the case of Krishna, Krishna gives you a whole list of what you should do. He's giving the full list in chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita. And of course, we also read here in text 22-25 that Varshana Mataji, was commenting on, and you were also commenting on, Meera Mataji, like that. So does that help you, Meera Mataji, next time you go to your sister?
Yeah, it does. But I have another question though.
Please.
I make I make rotis for my sister once a week for a whole week and give it to her. So she specifically told me not to put it as prasad, or not to offer it to Krishna at my place, because she wants to offer it to.
Fantastic.
But she's not Krishna consciousness. They pray it a different way. So I was thinking, I want to offer it to Krishna so they can eat the prasadam. So I'm having a conflict, and I'm not offering it to Krishna. I'm just
But
giving.
who is she offering it to?
They pray it a little different. They have Ram, Sai Baba, and Hanuman.
As long as she has Ram, that's fine.
Okay. So then it's okay for me to give it to her straight, and she offers it as a whole.
Yeah,
Okay.
because now what you're doing is that you are serving the devotee of Lord Ram.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Thank you so much.
Right. This is what it means. Das, dasanu, das, servant of the servant of the servant. This is what it means. She's a servant of Krishna and you are his servant. And actually, here's the funny thing about Krishna and Krishna the transcendental and things in material life. Right? For example, take the Prime Minister of India. Right? If you know him as your childhood buddy, Varshana Mataji, then you are close to him, right? If you don't know him, but you know his secretary, then you sort of know him, but not that intimately, but you don't know him, right? Or if you happen to be close friends with somebody who's friends with the secretary, then also you're close to the prime minister, but not that close again. Now you're one more degree removed from him, right? But if there's some need that you want to have some prime minister interference, you can talk to this friend, the friend can talk to the secretary, and secretary can talk to the prime minister, and you can get your things done like that, right? So you see that the further removed that you are from the main central figure, the more difficult it is to get your things done, right? I mean, if you just knew the prime minister directly, you'll pick up the phone or send a WhatsApp text message, and then that's it, your work is done, right? So there are less layers between, the fewer the number of layers that are there between you and your object, then the easier it is for you to access your object, right? And in the transcendental realm, when it comes to service of Krishna, it is exactly opposite. And these are some of the things which are very difficult to understand for us, that how can being further removed from Krishna actually bring us close to Krishna? How can, instead of serving Krishna directly, how does serving his devotee directly, indirectly, is much better? Or dasanu dasa, they say 100 times removed, million times removed. That is even better. That brings you even closer to Krishna. So our acharyas tell us very interesting thing about, why is Krishna more pleased when we serve Krishna versus when we serve his devotees. He's more pleased when we serve his devotees. And so by serving his devotees, you please him even more. And then if you serve the devotee of his devotee, that's even better, right? And the reason for that they say is that Krishna sees the devotees doing devotional service, and that devotional service touches his heart. And that when the devotional service touches the heart, Krishna wants to reciprocate. Krishna wants to give it back to you, right? So there are 4 types of people who come to Krishna. Artho, Jigyas, Chaturvida, Bhajante Mam, Jana Sukriti no Arjuna. Artho, Jigyasu, Artharti, Yani cha Bharadrishabha. So Artho, Artho are those who are in distress. They pray to Krishna. There is a crocodile on my leg. Please remove that crocodile. Artho. And then Artharti, I want some money. So for these kinds of things, when a devotee is asking Krishna, it's easy for Krishna to reciprocate. You want some money? Okay, I'll give you money. Okay, there's a crocodile in your leg. Okay, I'll come and cut off the crocodile's head. There are difficulties in life, you're doing that. But when it comes to pure devotional service, the pure devotee, what is pure devotional service? Anyabhlashita shunyam. It doesn't have any desire. So devotee is doing devotional service just for the sake of doing devotional service. He doesn't want anything. See, Jnani will want some Jnana. Dhyani will want some mystic powers, right? but a devotee of the Lord doesn't want anything. So when a pure devotee of the Lord is serving to Krishna, how does Krishna reciprocate? Even if Krishna wants to serve them back, they will not allow Krishna to serve them back. They don't want Krishna to serve them, right? So Krishna misses on that opportunity to serve his devotees, and that is why when somebody else comes and serves them, then Krishna is very pleased with that. So please continue to make chapatis for your sister, Meera Mataji,
Thank you.
and it'll be good. Any other reflections or questions on chapter 14 of Bhagavad Gita?
Mataji, I have a question. So, for putting the bhogam, is it enough to, like, when you're cooking it in the utensil on the gas, to just offer it to Krishna mentally? Or I see people put it in a plate and put it in the temple. So, what is the right way to offer prasadam to Krishna?
Good question, and it depends on the time and place and the circumstances. Okay, for example, when you go to the temple, the things are laid out very nicely on a plate, right? Nicely covered with a cloth. Maintain hygiene and cleanliness, and while cooking, while serving, everything, and is served on a timely manner. Okay, that's the rule of the temple. And the rule inside your home, again, it depends. Let's assume that everything is conducive in the home. Everybody in the home is Krishna conscious. Okay, and so when a person is cooking, then should I just mentally offer to Krishna, or should I put it in a plate? Okay, so then what we have to do is that we have to just say that, okay, I'm serving Krishna, so that I have a relationship with Krishna, and there are others also in my home, and I have a relationship with them also. So how many times did I offer my food mentally to my husband? How many times did I take the whole dish in which I cooked it and put it in front of my husband and said, eat? Right? So as your intimacy with Krishna grows, right, with devotional service, you will like to put it on a plate, because putting it in a plate, putting it in dal in every katori, sabji in a katori, chapati somewhere, rice somewhere, and nice quantities, as if you are feeding a 16-year-old boy, that much appetite. You will put nicely over there, and then you'll give it, and then you will let him eat. It's not that Krishna, see, this is bhoga, now I have to eat. You take it back. No, you have to wait. You have to wait, let him eat. And in the temple, they keep for 20 minutes, because one is supposed to chew food properly and eat it. And at home the rules are a little bit relaxed, right? Because we are all working, we are grahastas, we have to go for job, and child is hungry, you can't say, okay, wait, Krishna is eating for 20 minutes, after that I have to wash all the utensils and then I will serve food. So rules in the home are a little less stringent. And then again, if there is if the others in the home are not supportive, right, and the only person is working against all odds, and that person is working against all odds, and trying to offer something to Krishna, at that time it's okay for you to offer it mentally, right? But if people offer prasad mentally just because it's a chore to put it on a plate, I'll come to you, Mataji. And if it's a chore to come to the put it on the plate, and a chore to wait, and then again a chore to wash all of them back. There was a Prabhu, I'm forgetting his name, and he said that, yeah, you can definitely, there was a question asked that, can I offer prasad mentally to Krishna? It was a young boy who was asking, some brahmachari. And so the Prabhu replied, and he said, yes, you can offer the bhoga mentally to Krishna. And then when the prasadam comes, then you also have the prasadam mentally. You don't sit and eat the prasadam like that. So Mataji, time, place, circumstances. But the idea is, yat karosi, yat ashnasi. Whatever you're doing, do it as an offering to Krishna. If time doesn't permit, you just offer it mentally and be done with it. But Krishna,
Thank you, Mataji.
yeah, Krishna sees that.
And so after 20 minutes with that bhogam, you distribute it to everybody, or one person eats it? Like, what to do?
Yeah, what we do is, because it is transcendental, we take it and we mix it back into the whole thing. Sabji goes into the sabji dish, right? Dal goes
Okay.
into the dal, everything becomes transcendental, right? Now, the ideal way of prasadam, and this used to happen a lot of time earlier, and I know some of you Matajis do that, but not directly, but in some ways. So what they used to do was that once they get the prasadam, then they would go out of their home and they will shout and say, is there anybody who needs prasadam?
Oh,
Is there anybody who wants to eat? And then, and people would be there, bhikshus and all that, they would come, they would eat. Then after that, they will give food to the cow, right? Or the animals, like that. And then they would sit down and then serve, the lady of the house would serve everybody in the home. Because prasadam is to be served first, right? And then afterwards it is honored. That is a proper way. Now in Kali Yuga, there's nothing proper that happens, Sulekha Mataji. The wife might have to cook and she might be the first person who leaves home. And the husband might be getting up late, right? So she can't afford to wait for her husband because she'll get late for the job in any case, right? So it's all topsy-turvy. As long as Krishna is the first person to honor the bhoga, that's fine. Sometimes you have to eat it first, what to do. There are no bhikshus outside. If you go outside and start shouting, then the neighbors will complain like that. So
Thank you, Mataji.
you're
Yeah,
welcome.
that's very helpful.
Thank you.
Mataji, while cooking, one more thing is while cooking, and actually it was when it's boiling or something, if we want to give it and offer it right away, that is also something we have to think. We cannot feed anybody or
Yes,
kids like that in a boiling food like that.
boiling food,
We
exactly.
need to make it room temperature and then give them.
Yes, very
At
good.
the same time, too cold also. Just
Can
see
I?
how we are eating. How people you serve. Same way you think that Krishna is there and a person and you're serving. That
Exactly.
is one thing. And putting in the plate, it's a must. And then we always used to mix in the where sabji and rice where they belong to, so that everybody will equally eat the prasadam. That's how I feel.
Yes. And Kathy Maji is raising her hand. I think she wants to share something as
Yeah.
well.
My mom had shared like the story of Laddu Gopals from the different people's place were having conversation about how the offerings are done in a different houses. So one Laddu Gopal was saying that, they love us, but they love the food also. They offer very hot food, like what Mataji was saying. Then someone was saying, like the other Laddu Gopal was saying, they have no patience. I'm about to eat. I just put my hand and the food is gone. So
Yeah,
there
that's
has
true.
to be like a proper timing the way you are describing. So the whole event my mom was describing is that how Laddu Gopal was having this conversation. So she was like, think about from Laddu Gopal's perspective, right? They are child, so they will take like more time to eat.
Now, normally they
Um,
take more time to eat, but so we have to give them a little bit time. Just to show
yeah.
and they take it and eat it, that is also another thing.
So you can see, Kathy, you can see, Sulekha Mataji, how these ladies are expressing their sentiments, right? So this kind of not sentiments, actually they're relationships. They're
This
not
really,
your sentiments. That
Yes, Mataji.
relationship with Krishna is seen, and it comes with practice. It'll come. By default, it'll be like, how can you do that? And then sometimes you are not, like when we don't eat food, or when there is leftover food for us, then that's it. The lady of the house thinks, very good, I don't have to do any cooking today. I'll just take out the food, put it in a microwave, and the whole family will eat. And then they say, oh, what about Laddu Gopal? What about veggies? Right? So in such cases, if such a situation is there and you can't prepare the whole food, right, then you can offer them some fruits, dry fruits, water, at least that much. Some people put a glass of water in front of the
Yeah.
deities the whole day, just in case they're thirsty.
that
Some
is
people will
also another thing, Mataji. When you offer the food, some people don't put the water.
put
Without water, they'll offer put the plate there.
Yeah.
So that is also another thing. We love how we eat and drink water. So even
Right,
Krishna needs
right,
that.
right. And it depends on the mood also. Now here I had once gone to a prayer. There was a yagya happening, and it was not a ISKCON person, so it was some other priest who was doing. And so and he was at the home of a technocrat, and so they were doing it because they had asked the priest to come and do the yagya, because from cultural momentum they knew that this is to be done. Not that they were very much into not that they were very much into devotional service as such. They knew that this is something to be done, like how in Vedas say that if you do this you will get that. They were just doing it for fulfilling that purpose. So they were doing Lakshmi Puja or something like that. So the priest came, and then so there was then priest said, where is prasadam? So they had not made a plate or put any food to be offered for the yajna. And then the priest also was very fantastic. He said, okay, bring all the dishes, wherever you have, in whatever you have cooked, let us offer the whole thing to Krishna. And then he was saying, Tera tujhko arpan, kya lage mera, tera tujhko arpan, kya lage mera. You know, whatever is yours. I'm just giving it to you. What is there that belongs to me? So whatever I have cooked, I'm going to give it to you. So you see, his mood was different. His mood was not that we are lazy, we have to make a food and things like that, right? And then the funniest thing that happened was that after this whole yagya was over, everything was over, uh, they had invited all of us. So then the hostess and the hostess, they served prasadam to everybody. They were office colleagues and things like that. And they completely forgot the pandit, you know. I mean, normally you will give food to the pandit the first, you know, that respect has got to be there, that this is God's person, the representative doing the yagya for me.
Oh
This
God.
attitude. You know, so people are in different frames of mind when they go and do these things. But the priest was also very, you know, calm and quiet. He did not, you know, he did not even complain. But then there was one good soul. She said, you know, let's there. So I was there and that lady was there. We just said we took to ask the priest to eat something, and then he ate just very little. So we said, okay, let's pack for him and let him go. So all kinds of things can happen with bhoga and prasadam. Yeah. So the fact that you're asking that question, Sulekha Mataji, itself shows, you know, advancement.
Thank you, Mataji.
Others didn't even know. You know, they
Thank you
asked
so
that.
much.
Another thing, Mataji, if we have any party like that in a puja, and then we call people, mostly, sometimes people order food from outside.
Yeah.
So at that time, you know, you order 3 or 4 or 5 items for outside to feed everybody. But for God, you just make some alwa or something, or you just don't make any, some fruits you will give. Like that, now how can anybody do like that? Is that proper? That's not proper. We eat all kinds of food, sabji, this, that, and 4 or 5 kinds. And then you don't have anything because it came from outside. So homemade thing is not there that much.
Yeah.
That is
Again, it shows the efforts that you're putting, right? Some people will cater food from outside and then they will offer it to God. Because that's the way of working. They just order food, right? And the others are, they will make food from it. They'll go to the pains, because Krishna, what is this? He's bhavgrahi janardana. He knows what's going inside your heart. But if you're taking the pains that I'm going to make it myself, then you know, he sees that this person this person had the money to cater food, but then did not take that route, but instead made the food for me, or at least made the food for me, didn't have time to cook for others, or inclination or whatever, like that. But then, you know, the consciousness of the person who cooks the food goes inside the food. And so we don't know the consciousness of the person who's cooking in the restaurants from where you cater the food. So it's better, you know, we just avoid that. Having said that, I've heard seniors say that, and so when you eat the food which has been cooked by somebody else, their karmic reactions also come to you because of the consciousness being mixed with the food. So, but sometimes people say that because you paid Lakshmi for it, then you don't get the karmic reaction. So that there's a, you know, again, um, thinking of it from the hygienic perspective, food brought from outside is never hygienic. We all know that, right? The restaurant people don't invite their customers to come and, hey, come and see my kitchen. They never invite you there. Even in big hotels, you know, when you order room service, if you just have to go down and see their kitchens, you'll be like, I'm never going to order room service again. The way it should be.
So, Mataji, the devotees, where do they cater from? Is there special kitchens, or they don't eat from outside at all?
Well, usually we don't eat from outside, but then if there are dire situations, then there are gradations. You know, there are devotees who are in the catering business. So they will cook the food in the right consciousness. They will offer it to Krishna
that,
and we buy
that's so.
prasadam from them. You know, those are sources. If you want to know, we can give you names.
Okay, definitely.
Yeah. Because why not? You know, you help the devotee, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
And you help yourself because you're getting prasadam. Yeah.
right, Mataji.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some of the devotees might have
Hare
situations
Krishna.
like, yeah, some of them, I'll come to you. Some of them might have a situation where you have to go and pick it up from their homes, right? They won't have delivery service. So those kind of situations are there. Yeah. But yeah, we'll give you name. Yes, Varshana Mataji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, in this COVID situation this year, many people have started, catering business. The devotees have started the catering. One lady is doing all the baking, and the other one is, they are serving tiffin dibba system. So, Madhuri, and they say that we haven't offered it, you can offer it to the Lord. It is absolutely clean, and we chant the holy name, and then only we cook and give. So the family members are only cooking, Madhuri. Hare Krishna, Madhuri.
There you go. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
I have actually bought very small cup dishes to offer, and I heard you say right now that offer a good portion of to as a offering, but I literally got very cute small dishes and spoons, and I offer it in those dishes, in those little cups and dishes and glasses.
Mm.
Except when I make a roti, it's a normal size. But everything else, I put it in the small.
Yeah. You can use your small dishes for the breakfast
Uh-huh.
and buy new dishes for the lunch and dinner.
Oh, okay.
Don't starve your Lord. Because
No,
he
I
can.
thought I deliberately bought small ones, thinking that's the way. I thought that was
I have to tell you,
okay.
I have to tell you this thing that I used to offer like rice, put it in a katori and then put the rice like that level,
Mm-hmm.
like that. And then you put your things and you offer it to the Lord. Till I saw Hansapriya Mataji in our temple offering it. So when she puts the rice, she'll put it in the katori and it'll be a mountain.
Yeah, yeah, like that.
Always like, I want to give more to the Lord. I want to give more.
Oh, okay.
We don't shortchange the Lord because this is our way of expressing our gratitude to the Lord, right? That Lord, you have given me so much, and I'm giving it
Oh,
back to you.
okay.
Tera tujhko
Thank you
arpan.
for that tip to, I mean,
But
to make
one
it.
more thing,
Open your
Mataji.
heart and open your heart and give. And sometimes what we do is that we also try to, the God has to be in the focus, and that is what Krishna consciousness is. You have to be conscious that there is Krishna, and then especially if you've got a deity at your home, you have to be conscious that there's a deity in your home. It's like, if there's a grandma or a grandpa in the home, we are all cognizant, right? That there's somebody in the home. So similarly, we have to be conscious of the fact that, even though grandma and grandpa might not be cooking, might not be doing anything, but you're aware. And when you serve food, the first food goes to the grandpa or grandma, right? According to good customs. But so when you have the deity in your home, then there also the same thing happens. For example, a person who doesn't think about Krishna and is thinking about, oh, what's my food, right? And so they said, oh, I've got leftovers and I have got to make something for Krishna. Maybe I'm just going to offer him water and some dry fruits, right? Now there are two ways of going about it. One is you first take the dry fruits, first take the water, go to Krishna, offer it and put it in front of him. While he's eating all that, then 10 minutes, whatever he takes, then you go and heat your food. Your leftovers, right? Other way around is that you first start take on your leftovers, you heat, you put them oven wherever you need to heat, everything is just settled. You take a handful of your offerings to the Krishna, you offer, and by the time you have just put it in front of Krishna, your microwave has gone off. The beep beep beep. So when my food is ready, you take things from Krishna, yank it, and then you say, "Oh, prasadam time over." Right. So Krishna conscious means that you're constantly conscious of, like how Vidyavali was saying, won't his mouth burn if you're cooking straight from the dish? Will you do it to your child? No. Right? So always ask this question. I'm doing this to Krishna. Will I do it to my loved ones?
Loved ones.
Will I do the same thing to them? And then your devotional service will automatically become perfect. Like that.
One more thing, Mataji, I want to ask you that whatever we offer in those plate and bowls and everything to prasadam, and then before we eat, we have to wash them also.
Yes.
That's what I do mostly,
Yes.
It's because unless I wash and keep them aside, and then I won't eat my food.
Yeah, one is not supposed to actually. And the reason for that is that as long as there is food in the plate, or there is some leftover food stuck to the vessel, right? What is that famous pastime when there was some food stuck to a piece?
Subhadra. No,
Draupadi,
Draupadi.
8.
Akshay Patra.
Akshay Patra, one grain will be
Right,
there.
one little,
Krishna
right?
took that just one rice.
As long as there is a little piece left over there. So you offered it to Krishna, you took it away from him, and then now you have mixed it with everything, but there is still food there in the katoris, right? And so he's eating it. He wants you to eat it as long as there is food in that thing. And then what you do is now you sit down and you are eating also, right? So what you're doing, you are eating together with Krishna.
Yeah.
And we don't do that. Like servants don't eat with the master.
Yes.
So that is why you will wash the utensils,
Wash
keep them
them
away.
first.
Krishna, you're done. Close the curtains in front of Krishna, and then you sit down and honor the prasadam, like that.
We also use a separate soap and brush and
Yeah.
sponges
Good.
to
Yes,
keep, if you
yes,
can. I mean, if you.
we can. Here's the thing: if you can't keep a separate brush and a separate,
Sponge.
sponge for Krishna, this is the best sponge that you have. You use this sponge, your
He
hand.
has given this. We can use that.
Yeah. There's no need for a sponge because you might keep a separate sponge and then the kids will come and use the sponge and then your spouse will use the sponge and then someone from outside comes to help you. They use that mix of the sponges and then you tear your hair. So let's not even have that in the first place. Just use your hand. Like that. So his utensils have to be kept separate. You don't eat from his utensils. Like that. It's just
Yeah.
a mark of respect. Doing
Also,
that.
Mataji, offering
Oh, you
tulsi.
jump from Facebook to this? Very good.
Hare Krishna. Also, offering tulsi leaves, and if fresh tulsi leaves not available, then dried twigs
And where do you offer them? Please elaborate.
uh,
Good.
Point.
on
Food.
the side
On
of
the
the bowls in the plate.
Mm.
When if the soup or dal is hot, then I put it on the side because Tulsi Maharani also is very conscious. So all that I
That's
learned over time. Yeah.
Yeah, so you see how yeah, we don't boil tulsi leaves. So you see how as we go with time and as you are getting more and more into devotional service and DT worship, you see how the relationship is being built.
yeah.
Not only relationship with Krishna, but even the relationship with the things that you're offering and with his devotees like Tulsi. And now you're saying Tulsi cannot do that, Tulsi cannot do this, and that's why we don't boil Tulsi and have Tulsi tea, right?
Yeah.
If you want to have Tulsi tea, go and buy some wild Tulsi leaves and drink the tea from there. But not the Tulsi that we use. That is the devotee form of Tulsi. Yeah. So DT
Can we
worship
put
will happen.
tulsi in the hot water or any hot
We
beverage?
don't. We don't. We don't.
Oh,
So
okay.
Mataji, so there are different types of tulsi. Some are devotee tulsi, some are wild tulsi. So the wild tulsis you can use, but the main tulsi, and it's a distinction. It's a nice distinction. I was listening to a lecture the other day, and so where they were talking about. So Meera Mataji, DT worship has got a lot of rules and regulations, and it starts with doing devotional service as a regulative through regulations, under rules and regulations, and then as people advance in devotional service, the rules and regulations go away, and it's kind of starts to become spontaneous devotional service. But for all of us, we are advised not to follow the route of those who worship the Lord spontaneously. And the
Okay.
reason we say for that is that we still don't have the mood to do things in a spontaneous manner, and we might end up we might end up committing offenses to the Lord. And for example, there's a temple in Rajasthan. I'm forgetting where it is, where as soon as the curtains are open or when there's time to feed Krishna, they have got, they mix dal and rice and sabzi and make balls, food balls, and then they throw the food ball on the Lord. And they said, eat like that. That's the mood. Now we should not practice that because we are not at that level
Yeah.
like that. Having said that, Krishna sees the devotion with which a person is doing devotional service. For example, when Prabhupada was here in USA, he was able to affect a change in the life of so many people across so many countries in this globe. Whereas we are from India, and most of us, and so there is so much of, we look around anywhere, there are temples and there are people, you know, but still all of them were not able to make the kind of changes in their lives as Prabhupada was able to do, right? He was able to convert hippies into devotees. That's the extreme. And so there are two things over there. One is Prabhupada's potency, right? A self-realized soul, and he's doing that. And the second was that these hippies, or not only just the hippies, there were devotees all over the world. There was one person in Europe, and they did not know much about Krishna consciousness, and most of them didn't. We know a lot from cultural momentum, but they didn't know. And so they had heard that, if you worship the tulsi plant, then your devotional service will go up. And so they bought a tulsi plant, and they were worshipping the tulsi. They did it for 2-3 years, and they could see that they were advancing in devotional service until some other person came into their place. And so another devotee came to the place, and then it was like, okay, it's morning time, bring the tulsi, we want to do tulsi arti. So these people, they brought the tulsi plant, and this visiting devotee looked at the plant and he said, what, this is not tulsi, this is a bamboo tree. So, but they had that a faith and reverence that is what Krishna sees.
That's
You know,
true.
they didn't know, they are from different, different things. So there's so many aspects and nuances of devotional service. um and and
In
some,
Puri Jagannath, they just when they take the prasad to the deities, they just cover their nose like this and they yell like anything because people shouldn't be there at all
yes,
close by. They
yes,
have to step
right,
out.
right.
That's how they take the prasad.
Yes. I remember I went to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and they said that there was a tunnel from his home to the temple, because he was
Yeah.
a priest at the temple. And for the priest, when he takes a shower and goes to the temple, then no animals should see him on the way. And like India, there are so many stray dogs. Some stray dog will see you on the way and bark. So he used to go through the tunnel, and from there, go to the temple like that. So there are rules, and of course, big temples have got bigger rules like that. But do whatever comes from your heart. Your heart will always be right, because Krishna, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivasa, will guide you from their heart, and Krishna will also, reciprocate, and he knows what your feelings are, and then he will guide you from out inside as the super soul, and from outside in the form of a spiritual master. You will know what is the right thing to do. And I think the right thing to do right now is to call it off, because it's 5 minutes past 8 o'clock, and I'm working today.
Uh-oh.
so, so we didn't do our Srimad Bhagavatam today. I'll just touch a little bit. I just touch a little bit on the verse that we will pick up next week, and this has got to do with devotional service and the faith. This is Uttara, who's been attacked in the womb by Brahmastra from Ashwathama, and how she reaches out to the Lord. That's what we are doing, and we will continue to do that next time. So, having said that, I will take your leave here. Thank you so much for your questions here, and thank you so much, all of you who have joined us on the Facebook. Lata Prasad is watching us. Vijayalakshmi Nair Mataji. Okay, Shruti Priya, of course, jumped from there, came here. And thank you so much, all of you. Vanche kalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patita nam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo
Vaishnavebhyo
namaha.
namo namah.
Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Thank
Hari
you, Shraddha
Bol.
Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so
Hari
much.
Bol.
Thank
Hari
you so
Krishna.
much,
Shraddha
Mataji.
Mataji.
Hari
Thank you
Krishna
very much.
Prabhu.
All the
Hari
devotees.
Krishna.
Nice.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hari Krishna.